So you want to learn Python, but I don't want to waste your time, so let's begin. You're going to need somewhere to write that code. So you're going to use this website if you don't have Python and VS Code installed, which is where you write your code. You can just write Python compiler and click on websites, and you can probably write some simple code on that. But if you want to do something complicated, you're going to need VS Code or whatever compiler you need and Python installed because you're going to install libraries and stuff. And begin by doing the first step in Python, which is writing something. Hmm? Just copy what I wrote. Then you can see print something. Hello world. Congratulations, you just wrote your first line of code or Python, if that's the matter. So I'm going to be teaching you some stuff to learn Python. So that's what's called a print statement, which is where you go print and then you can print whatever. But before we learn print, I want to teach you about some basic knowledge, which is data types. Some data types are different than each other. In strings are like words or letters like hello or my name is whatever, right? That's what a string is. Strings always have to be concatenated, which means you have to put them in quotation. It can be single quotes or double quotes. So those are strings. Remember, hello. They need to be in quotations. Then you have integers. Integers. This is all. By the way, they're in their short form, like int for integers, for string, right? Integers are numbers, like 0, like 1,700, 3,000, whatever, right? Those, like numbers, are integers. They don't have to be in quotations or anything. And there's something else called a list. You can have multiple values in, you can have strings, something like that. You can have another list inside a list, which is crazy. You can make like Matrix, like from the Matrix movie. You use lists, you write the list, and you write. Actually, we'll learn about this later on. I don't want to confuse your brain right now. So those are basically your data types. So we're gonna print if you want to print like words, sentences. Remember, use quotations, whether it be single quotes or double quotes, right? And so I want you guys to try writing my name is whatever your name is. As you can see, I'm doing here. My name is Arian, right? So yeah, you already mastered basically print. That's so cool. Another thing we're gonna do is learn how to make variables. Variables, you can name them whatever. Like, I'll call this one ice cream is equal to I like ice cream. To make a variable, you put the name right here. Then you put an equal to show what it's equal to, like what the value is, and then you write the actual value, whether it be a string, an int, a list, a tuple. Actually, you'll understand those later on as soon as you get more little above super beginner level. But you've already mastered print, so who knows? Maybe you'll do it in an hour. You can do anything, basically. So we can do we can use these variables to print something. Print ice cream. It's not gonna print ice cream. And also in variables you don't need parentheses. It's gonna think it's a word, not a variable. So it's just writing I like ice cream. And we can change it. And so like I was saying, you can also have something like you'll do like A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2. You can do something like A plus B 3. I just did some math for us. That's so cool. But let's say we have something like 1. What's going to happen? It's going to give us an error because you can't add a word and a number. So for that, we use int. Just say, hey, this isn't a string. This is a number. But actually, you might not want to use with parentheses like I did here. You might want to use it with inputs. You'll figure what those out are later. But yeah, those are basically how you use variables and you use lists. So, one second. To use list, you write the variable name, which in our case is just list. Then we can write list uh 2. Lists have something called indexes. So like this is it starts at 0, then goes up. That's at index 3 and that's at index 4. If we just print the list, it just prints the list. We print at if you put square brackets and put 1, it prints at index 1, which is 2. And if we do 3, prints at index 3, which is DW. Those are just basics of list, and you might want to learn how to do that. And let's say you have name, right? Which is Orion, and then you have car with your favorite car brand or something like Ferrari, right? You can do you can add strings together, right? So you can do something like name, comma, wait a second, put double parentheses, favorite car is then car. As you can see, Arian's favorite car is Ferrari. It's not Ferrari, I just wrote it, by the way. So you can do commas or pluses. As you'll see, you can see the difference. You see how there's spaces between is and that, but if I do pluses, there are no spaces, as you can see. And I added a space right here, and that's connected, so that's why it's not showing up. It's showing up like that. And this can be a little confusing. What if you have house, rent, whatever, right? So there's something called F string, which is you do F parentheses, not parentheses, I mean quotations. Then you can do write it normally as like my name is my name is name and my name and my favorite. Oh my god. Car is or You can see my name is Ari and my favorite car is Ferrari. You don't have to worry about spaces, pluses, commas, any of that. And yeah, so now, there. So let's do this. If and else are pretty easy to use. We can do like if, a, and when we're doing equal, so there's some, I'll just write it right here. I'm trying to say if like p is equal to p or something, right? That, right? You can do, we have to do equal, equal. If you want to say if it's not equal, we do that. We want to do greater than, just greater than, less than, less than. For right now, let's change these to 9 and 10. We can do something like if A is equal to B, print A. First, let me just clear this real quick. Now, if you run it, it doesn't print anything because A is not equal to B. What if do A is not equal to B? Because that's true, right? So it obviously prints 9. We can do if A is greater than B, which it's not, so it's not going to print anything. Can do something like that. It prints it because A is smaller than B. Can do like if A is equal to A, which it obviously is. As you can see, prints it. And in ifs, you have else. So like if A is greater than A, then print A. If it's not greater than A, then we print B. As you can see, it prints 10 because A is obviously not greater than A because they're equal. And if that's not true, it does the else. Instead of else, let's say you want to have a statement. Something like L if, L, which is just else if A is equal to B, which it's not again, print B. But if that's not true, we can do something like else print I. As you can see, prints high. But if you go here, another thing to notice is, let's do this. Set A to 10. Now it is equal to B. But what if we do something like this? L if A is equal to B. Do you think it will print B or high? Let's see it. Prints 10, which is B. That's because it goes from line to line. It does this first, then that, then this at the end. What if you have something like, let's say, A is high and B is equal to, let's see, I, sure, and C is equal to another I. There's something called match case. That's only if you want to compare one value, like one variable, to other stuff. So we can do something like match A case. So this is basically if it's equal to B. Actually, we're gonna do something like this instead. Do this 9 case 8. If it's equal to 8, we're gonna print 8. If it's 9, which it is, we're gonna print 9. As you can see, it prints 9 because it is 9. So that's case, matching case. I'm not gonna go super in depth, but that's basically something you can do. So that's if and else and matching case. Another thing you're gonna want to learn is loop. For loops, I'm going to make a list, which you'll call ice. So, which is gonna have milk, cream, sugar, and last but not least, vanilla extract, which is to make a super simple ice cream. These are the ingredients we need. So you just call it ice cream. So remember list. You can do like you compare ice cream at the index 0 or something. But what we'll do is we're gonna for, which is how you use a while loop, not like a loop. So for I and ice cream. So this is just saying for everything in ice cream. So for like milk and ice cream, for cream and ice cream, for sugar and ice cream. And remember, they're separated by commas. Rin I. Because you're saying for I, like I in ice cream. I is going to be milk, then cream, then sugar, then vanilla extract. As you can see right here. We can do something like add this to your ice cream and bam. Add this to your ice cream milk, then add this to your ice cream cream, and then add whatever, something like that, right? You can also do, there's something called range. What it does is, as you will see, range of 10. I'm not gonna explain, you'll figure it out. See, it starts from 0 and then just prints all the way up to 9. And you can change this to like 787, I guess. It excludes the last number, which is 87 in our case. So yeah, it prints 0 through whatever number you're doing. This can be helpful like for lots of reasons. You'll figure it out fine. So that's loop. Another thing you might want to know is, let's do A is equal to I. Actually, we'll do A is equal to 0. While A is not equal to 10. So what this is saying is while A, it's not, if it's not 10, keep doing this loop, right? If it's not 10, we're gonna keep doing this while we're gonna keep checking, and all we're gonna do is A plus equal. What this does, this is the same as, how to tell you this, but this is A equal A plus 1 is the same thing as, wait, 1 second, plus equal 1. These do the same thing. It's a handy thing you might want to learn. You can also do like minus equal 1. So we can do that. And we can print 8. So this is going to do the same thing as the while loop. I mean the for loop. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pretty simple, pretty easy. And that's basically your while loop. Functions. Functions are, as you can see, we're putting for print, for writing something or doing anything, they're using these parentheses. So we can make a function like this. Let's create a define. To make a function, you do def, which stands for define. You name your function. I'll name it um late. Sure. And what this function does is it prints you are late. And if you run it, it does nothing because we actually didn't call the function, meaning we didn't actually run it. We do it, we name a function and put two parentheses, like with print. You can also have an input like L. Let's do PO, sure. You are late, space, um, you are late, oh, and you put R in. See? You are late, R in. Pretty simple, pretty nice. And another thing I didn't tell you guys is if you use commas, it automatically adds a space where if you add a plus, it doesn't add a space. It just like adds kind of, yeah. So that's a function and we'll do something like this. Let's, another thing I want to tell you guys before I show you what try and accept is how to get input. Like how to get the user to write something. We can do to do that, we have to store whatever they write in a variable. We can do input, what we're gonna ask them, which is gonna be in our case, what is your name? Then we can print hi a exclamation mark. Now if you run it, see it's asking me what is your name and I can write something. I'll write Arian. Hi Arian. So this opens a lot of possibilities and it's really fun to do stuff like this. So now you can actually do, you probably have ideas running through your brain, like you can do so much stuff with this. So yeah, you can do what is your name, what is your age, whatever, right? But let's do this. A is equal to, you'll do something like input, please write a number. Please, you'll do something like print adding numbers, and we'll do something like, yeah, adding numbers. Please write your first number. Then we can do the same thing, copy, paste, and do that with B. Please write your second number. Remember, you can name this whatever. I'm just doing it for you. That can be your letter name, your variable name, but it can be anything. There are some exceptions, but you probably won't run into them. And we can do print A plus B, and we can do something. A plus B is your final answer. Let's test it out. Please write your first number, 2. Please write your second number, 3. 23. Okay, this is where int comes into place. It's saying 2 as a letter. It's not detecting 2 as a number. So you can use the int function to turn it into an integer or a number. Now, if you run it, first number, 2, 3. 5 is your final answer. You can do this with anything. 90, 23. 113 is your final answer. So, what if somebody types in something that's not a number, like I? It can turn I into a number, because I is a letter. So we get an error which is basically saying the same thing. Hey, I is not a letter, I mean a number. So you're gonna change it? That's basically what it's saying. So what we can do is we can do something like try and accept. You try, try doing this. If it doesn't work, what you're gonna want to do, this is basically what you're saying to the computer. You're like, hey, try this. If it doesn't work, instead of yelling at them this, we're gonna do something like, eh, we're gonna wait. But before I show you how accept works, you see how it says value error? This is what you're gonna want to pay attention. So we can do accept value error print. Hey, please put please put actual number. Now if we try it, do I, instead of yelling at us, we do something we told it to do, which is saying, hey, please put an actual number. So that's try and accept. And you're almost done. You're really close to being done. One thing I want to teach you is imports before we go on to our project. So what imports are, they're basically Python on itself. You can do imports, whatever, right? But if you want to do something complicated, let's say you want to go to a website, take all of the data on it, bring it back, write something. That's probably not something you're gonna do right now as a beginner, but in like as it doesn't take that long. But after like a little bit of time, when you get to that level, you're gonna need to do some more complicated stuff. You can't just, if you want to make something cool, something which Python can do, there are libraries. Like, how would I create a random number? Hmm? Right? So there's something called libraries, which you'll import. To get the libraries, you have to write pip install whatever your library is. If you're on the web, you can't do that because it's not on your actual computer, it's on the web. You'll have to install it to do that. So we can do import random. You don't have to pip install random. As you can see, if I do this, it's just saying no, there's no file named random. Because random is automatically in Python. You don't have to install it. But most of the advanced libraries you're going to use, you have to install. So don't worry about installing any libraries. You can just import random. And I'll just show you a quick way to get random numbers. Random.random is just saying get a random number between 1 and 10, let's say. And first, let me clear this because I don't like it being mumble jumbled. 7, 2, 9, 8, 10, 9, 5. It's just creating random numbers. So you can create like a dice simulation. You can be like A is equal to input how many sides do you want. Remember, we're going to need this as an integer. We can do 1 through 8. And then, so then if we do, if I want 20 sides, it's going to keep rolling till 20. If I want one side, it can only do 1. If I do 2 billion whatever sides, generates a random number. So, yeah. And so those are what libraries are. So now let's get on to the fun thing, our project. A simple calculator. With all of the stuff you've learned, you can probably understand how to do it. But if you don't, try it for yourself. If you run into any errors, Google it. But if you can't do it, come back to this video and I'll show you right how to do it. So you came back, or you just want to see how I'm doing it. Every way is correct. There's no wrong answer. Some ways are a little better than each other, but that doesn't mean any way is wrong. But this is just the way I would use. So, first, we need to ask the person what they want their first number. Actually, we can start with something like, welcome to the Python PyCalculator. PyCalc. And then we can be like, what the? We can have an input which we'll store into our, we'll call this operation. Operation. But what operation would you like to do? Maybe you'll put parentheses what they can write, like times plus division and subtraction. To think there for a second. Um, yeah. So we can do that. Then we can do first for our first number. Remember, it's a good general practice to not do what I was doing and actually name right now, like I'm doing right now, to actually name your variables with meaning. So we can do something like, what should, what is your first number? And we need this to be an integer because it's a number. We need to add, subtract, multiply, whatever, right? We call it second or second number, right? What is your second number? Now we can do something. There are 2 ways. We can do like if operation is equal to times minus elif plus, or we can do the other thing which I showed you guys, match. Match operation base this and multiply. We can do this. Print one, not one. First, actually let's do f. first, which is our number, the first number, with the operation of times, that's what they picked, times second is equal to first times second. And we can just copy, let's paste it. I'm gonna paste it 4 times because there's 4 operations. Times, division, plus, and minus. We can do divide, plus, whatever that is, and minus, and change this to the respective operation. But what if somebody writes a word or something? Let's take care of that. But try and accept. Try doing this. That doesn't work. We'll be like print sorry something went wrong, please try again. Now let's put that. What operation do you want to do? We want to divide. What's your first number? Our first number is 10. 10 divided by 2. What's our second number? 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. As you can see, it tells us. There you go. You built yourself a simple calculator. But let's test it out. So you can see it's just saying value error. But what we didn't do is, even though we have the accept, we never wrote if it was a value error. So we need to add that. So always test your code. Wait. So I figured out the problem. It wasn't because you can do specific or you can do overall. Doing just accept isn't a good practice, but I'm just showing you. So you probably shouldn't do this and probably put value error and be more specific with the print. But I'm just showing it to you guys. The reason our accept isn't working is because we aren't running this and we actually aren't running it in the try block. You see, that's not over here. So instead, to make it cleaner, let's do something which I taught you guys. Define, what is it? We call it calc for calculator. You, for defining, you have to, like, if you're making function, needs to be indented, ifs need to be indented, else's, if you write something in them, indented. Forgot to tell you guys that, but that should be fine. So instead we can do try calc. So it's just going to run our main code. And now, what's my first number? 43. What's my second number? Dot. You can see please something. And that's it for this tutorial. Hope you liked it. Hit the subscribe button and comment what you would like to learn next. Okay, bye.